Snow, who is over digital innovations. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about social media and the best tips and practices for that. So we're going to go ahead and bring him on. Hey, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How's
I'm
everything in Georgia?
surviving. How are y'all doing?
I'm about to go crazy.
We're making it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're making it. The question, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
I don't think anybody else could hear me. I think I think the live stream had muted me. Anyways, we're
Oh.
surviving. We're currently under a lockdown until April 30th, with it's probably going to be extended until the 15th of May. At least, the earliest is the 15th of May. But we're making it. It's all right. We'll survive. Hopefully.
Yeah, I don't know when our lockdown is going to be lifted either. But MDD Ross does say he can hear you, and he's here. So hi,
Good.
Ross. Thanks for joining us tonight. So I know last year you did some extremely great things with your local chapter. So let's start by introducing you and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, so JCI USA can get to know you.
Okay. Well, I am originally from a little town in North Alabama called Arab. Um, and it is pronounced Arab, regardless of how you think. Um, but I'm from Arab. I live in Columbus, Georgia. I lived here for 5 years, a little over 5 years now. Um, and we started our chapter. We restarted our chapter in 2018 here in Columbus. But I was chapter president in Gray, Georgia, before we moved here. So had a little bit of a break there where we weren't in a chapter, but we restarted here in 2018.
And you had a super successful year, and you credited a lot of that to social media.
Yeah, I guess the joke was I kind of broke JCI at the end of last year. Our chapter tripled its membership from October 15th to November 12th. We went from 14 members to, I think now we're sitting at about 49 or 50. Um, but we hit 42 November 12th of last year. So, and that was 100% because of social media. Basically, Instagram is mainly what we used.
So do you have, hey, Amy, hey, Margot, do you have any best tips and practices for us that don't know how to properly use social media?
Yeah. So I actually, this is kind of what I do. I'm a full-time preacher. I guess full-time. There is no part-time in ministry, but I'm a preacher. But I also do graphic design and social media marketing. So I kind of used that to help the chapter out. But essentially, what it boils down to is finding the people where they are. So, for instance, a good tip, we'll just take Instagram because that's really what I used. And statistically speaking, JCs are between the ages of 18 and 40. Well, that age range is Instagram. Um, so you don't have to weed out younger folks because they're on TikTok and Snapchat. You don't have to really weed out older folks as much. It's getting there by the end of I'd say probably by the end of this year, there'll be a lot more who are over 40 that are on Instagram. But for the most part, the overwhelming majority of the platform is JCH. So it basically starts with finding them where they are. So what we did was go to local hashtags or accounts or things like that, and find those people that were following them or liking their posts and that sort of thing, and sending them a message. Once you get into the actual conversation between you, you want to ask a lot of open questions. So um, we always start with a closed question. Have you ever thought about joining the JCs? They will automatically, if they respond, the next response will be, I don't know what that is. And then you give a little bit of history about your chapter, about JCs and that sort of thing. And then you kind of go from there. What questions do you have? How do you think that JCs might benefit you? Open questions. And so if you asked a closed question at the beginning, the ones that are actually interested will respond. And then from there, you don't want to shut down the conversation. So you ask open questions and you lead it to an in-person meeting. And so what we did was I set aside 1 or 2 days a week during this big push that we were having at the end of last year. So I'd set aside 1 or 2 days, and I would set up meetings for an hour and a half apart, because a meeting's about an hour, and so that'd give me 30 minutes. I was a little, uh, I have people have told me I'm a little over analytical sometimes, and so I actually split it up. I would set one meeting at say 9 at Starbucks, and then I'd set one at 10:30 at the Chick-fil-A down the street, so that if they came early, they wouldn't see me meeting with someone else. But you don't have to do that, and you don't have to try to go as fast as I did either. Um, but basically, you start with a closed question, ask open questions, give them information. You don't want someone joining the JCs that has no idea what it is, and then you move on to an in-person meeting where you can talk to them more, get to know them a little bit, so they know someone, so they're not just joining some group on the internet that they don't really know what's going on. So.
I was muted.
Completely
So,
lost you.
no, I was muted. Sorry. My kids are running around in the house, and by kids, my actual kid and my animals. So I was trying to be quiet. But so explain to us the scheduler tools and the pros and cons against that, because you said you would take a day and just kind of schedule everything. So
yeah, so I would schedule my in-person meetings during that time. But as far as scheduling Instagram posts and your actual content, um, I try to not schedule through third-party apps, because the algorithm on social media, even though it's always changing, there are some general tips and tricks about it. First of which is anything that's owned by Facebook hates anything that's not owned by Facebook. If you haven't noticed, Facebook wants to control the world. And so that's not conspiracy theory. That's just truth. Okay. But anyways, so anything that's not owned by Facebook, if you're using that to post onto a Facebook owned platform, the algorithm is automatically going to hit you. Thankfully, now they have the Creator Studio on Facebook, so you can go in through your Facebook page and schedule Instagram posts and that sort of thing. But just as a general practice, if you don't have access to a Facebook-made scheduler like the Creator Studio on Facebook, the Facebook pages portion, then just post from your phone, and it really doesn't take that long. What you could do is have a folder on your pictures, um, with the images that you want to share. Tell Siri or whatever phone you use the reminder, just set a reminder to post Monday at 9 a.m. or Tuesday at 6 p.m. And then you just, go in, hit the next image and share it out. It doesn't have to be super complicated, but as a general rule, if it's not owned, if the scheduler is not owned by the platform or the company that owns the platform, then it's going to hit your algorithm pretty hard, and it's going to. They always say that shadow banning isn't a thing, but the algorithm will silence your stuff to some degree. It may not completely shut it down where no one sees it, but you're going to do better if you try to play the algorithm and try to play nice with it.
now I know I have noticed, and so maybe you can help us by explaining the algorithm a little bit better. But so I have noticed the more things, because we were up on our JCI USA page a whole lot, and then we never slacked off of posting. But does it ever change because I scheduled everything? I did like you. I took a day, and then I scheduled a lot of things out, and then but then our likes and stuff aren't as popular. So I don't know if we were sharing too much content that people just weren't interested in, or was it the same sort of content and the fact that it was scheduled But it was scheduled
Um,
through the Creator Studio.
yeah, so there's some things that I would suggest in there. First off, if you're sharing all the same types of content, then your followers aren't going to realize that it's different. So if you're sharing the same, say for instance, you're sharing the same thing every Monday or something like this, and it's the same picture or the same image just with different wording on it. Or say for instance, I think in ministry, so you'll have to forgive me, but if I'm going to share, if I'm going to run a church's Instagram account and I'm going to share a Bible verse every Monday at 9 a.m. If I make the background and everything exactly the same and just the text on the picture or the image is different, then your followers aren't going to notice that it's different. So that's one thing that could help out, just kind of switching up your content. But and again, Facebook and Instagram specifically are very tight knit about what they give out as far as information of how their algorithm works, mainly because they don't really know how their algorithm works. If you know the nature of an algorithm, it is a computer software that learns by itself. So they start it and then it goes. And so
Right.
if you're following social media or especially like YouTube, the YouTube algorithm, um, everyone always gets upset about the YouTube algorithm, and then they get mad at YouTube, but YouTube isn't in control of it anymore. It's its own thing now. And so they make it and they set it up and they set the parameters and then it does its own and it can start making crazy decisions sometimes. So um so the chances are that about every quarter Facebook will adjust that algorithm to keep it in line because it is learning on its own, and sometimes it can go where they don't want it to go, and it can start allowing things or not allowing things that they don't want to happen. For instance, what happened in the last month where everybody started going live because we're all locked in our houses and we're going absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
Miranda is one of them. Listen, if you're not following Miranda on Facebook, you need to be. It is hilarious. Anyways, um, because of that, Facebook algorithms started freaking out, and it was ending people's live chats. It was not showing them afterwards, and people started freaking out because they thought, well, YouTube hates us or Facebook hates us. It's really just the algorithm freaked out because it wasn't prepared for that, and so they changed it. And so
Right.
since COVID-19 started until now, you have a different Facebook algorithm in a sense, and so right now, and I was talking to President Justin a few weeks ago, and he said, "What do you think about this?" And I said, "Listen, right now, anything's up for grabs because the algorithms are all messed up. The systems are all being worked by people, either a skeleton crew at the office or people at their homes. Uh, People are using social media differently right now than they have in the last month, much less the last since it started. Anything's kind of up for grabs, but mainly what I would say is either people started getting used to it or the Facebook algorithm changed a little bit. One tip or trick that I will tell you is how do I put this? Uh, if you ever pay Facebook for an ad for the next month, your stats are going to be trash outside of that ad. Because when you pay, the algorithm says, hey, they have money to pay for clicks. I mean, that's what you're doing. When you make a Facebook ad, paying for clicks. And so the algorithm says they have money to pay for clicks. I'm going to make them pay for clicks. And so it'll silence everything else on your page for a month or two until, again, it gets kicked back in and they reset it or they change some parameters or something like that. So don't freak out if your insights go down every now and then. That's perfectly fine. Don't stress out about it, especially right now. Just keep using it and keep playing around with it. You can't do anything wrong right now because literally every platform is freaking out. And so just play around and in general, just play around. It's social media. Listen, um, I get paid to run people's social media, and I always tell them that when I'm running your socials, I'm trying to break it. So I'm gonna try things that are strange or different. Don't freak out. Just follow me through because you have to change things up sometimes. And so just it might just be just need to change some content here and there every once in a while to stay fresh.
Right. So on that note, you also said you were a graphic designer. Are there any tips and tricks, free apps? I mean, I know I use Canva, and my personal favorite is Poster My Wall, but I have become to love Canva. Well, not really love, but I like it better than I did in January. Um, so give us some, maybe, because I mean, I obviously don't know Adobe Photoshop. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's kind of 2 or 3 tiers to graphic design. And if you're not a good graphic designer, if you don't learn the rules behind graphic design, then there are a lot of graphic designers out there that don't really know what they're doing, but they know how to use Adobe, and so they call themselves graphic designers. You at home with your phone can make the same stuff that they're making. I promise you can. So you have the top tier, the Adobe Suite that costs like I don't even know how much money a month. I get it free because of I contract with the company. Anyways, there's the Adobe Suite that's super high level. You can do anything you can imagine with that. That is the program that the top level performers and top level graphic designers use. But outside of that, if you're just running your chapters, social media, and that sort of thing, you don't need all that. We probably all have a phone. Download some apps like Canva. I don't know Poster My Wall. I've never even heard of that one, so I'll have to
I
download
love
that
it.
one.
It is so user friendly.
So if you need templates, if you don't feel comfortable making your own stuff yet, which is perfectly fine, get Canva. Spark Post is a good one, but you can't open the whole thing without having an Adobe sign-in. So Spark Post may not be useful as things like Canva. There's an app called Pixelmator that's really good. It's on the iPhone. I'm not sure if it's on that other one that no one likes to talk about. But it's really good, but it doesn't have templates, so you're making your own things. But I would say, I don't know, probably, let me see, what other apps do I have on my phone? SparkPost, Canva, Pixelmator. WordSwag is a good one if you just need a picture with some words on it. WordSwag is a good one. Typorama is a good one. And that's about it. And what you could do is generally there's a website called Skillshare. Generally, you can get about 2 months free with Skillshare if you sign up, and they have classes on how to design with a phone. So get on there, take a class on how to do it. If you really don't feel comfortable doing any of it, get on there and learn. Or YouTube. I have a friend that has been trying to get more and more into graphic design, and he keeps texting me like, "How do I do this?" And I keep telling him, "Just have you searched it on YouTube yet? If you haven't, don't call me yet. Just wait, look it up. If you can't figure it out, then call me." But just YouTube, Skillshare, learn the general principles, and then just have fun, like I said.
Michael Langworthy says Snapseed for putting text on pictures.
Yeah. Snapseed's a good one too. I don't have that one on my phone, but it is a good one.
Yeah, and he says it's a good thumbnail maker for YouTube videos. And then Whit says that they do have very good classes. YouTube does have, I mean, I've learned probably more from YouTube during this quarantine than anything. And I keep saying, like, if I watch any more of these makeup tutorials, I'm just going to come out full on Divine or RuPaul looking when when I finally get out of here. I'm going to be fabulous. Y'all just wait and
You
see.
got to be careful because we started watching too much YouTube, and then now we are starting raising rabbits.
See, exactly.
So YouTube can be really dangerous sometimes,
That's
especially
what
if
I'm
you're
saying. Like, I have
redneck.
been watching YouTube. I've been watching it and playing with my makeup. I'm going to finally figure out how to do makeup properly, and I'm going to come out of this thing fierce.
You know, I've never had a problem with that.
Makeup.
It doesn't really, yeah, the foundation doesn't really get under the beard, so I just don't
Yeah,
even
I
worry
was gonna
about it.
think you couldn't figure out how to get a tone to match under your beard. So,
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what that means, but yeah.
Well, speaking of us all having a lot of time on our hands, we have had a lot of our chapters kind of doing virtual things and collaborating on ideas and projects. And I know you have been collaborating, or you took a project and put your own little spin on it that you saw on the internet from another chapter. So let's bring in chapter president Bethany so we can talk about how, while we do have this free time, let's collaborate within the chapters. We will bring her in and y'all can talk about your projects. Hey, President Bethany. Yes, we can hear you. Can they hear you? Can you hear her, Lee?
I cannot.
Oh,
Not
man.
at all.
All right, well.
Did I mention that all social media and stuff is freaking out right now?
Yeah.
Hey, there I am.
There we go.
Hey, y'all. My name is Bethany Miller, and I am the 2020 Hattiesburg, Mississippi local chapter president. Like Miranda said, we have been collaborating on some projects, so I'll let Lee kind of talk about what they've got going on in Columbus first, and then we can come back and chat about what we have going on here in Hattiesburg.
Yeah, well, that's probably a good idea because y'all's is much more intricate than ours is. Going back to graphic design, the number one of graphic design is you are never stealing, you're just getting ideas. So Hattiesburg started a t-shirt drive, selling t-shirts in order to raise money to support and help people in the service industry. And I actually texted Miranda and I said, hey, tell me about how y'all are doing this. And while she was not responding because she was doing something more important than answering my text message, I just made the shirt and we started. And then she texted me and said, hey, this is how we do it. I said, well, that's not how we're doing it. But we're selling a t-shirt. It's just says Columbus Strong on it. It's a design that I made a few years ago that I just put the word strong underneath. We're selling them on Teespring, and the proceeds of that, we're just going around and finding servers that are out of work right now and tipping them. So when we sell a shirt, that money, it's $9 and some change. So we just rounded it up to 10. $10 gets tipped to a service industry worker that's out of work right now. So it's really, really cut and dry, really basic compared to what Hattiesburg is doing. We're basically just PayPaling people that we know that are out of work and trying to find more people as we go. That's basically the gist of what we're doing. So tell us about what you're doing.
Yeah. Cool. So we actually started with an idea called a virtual tip jar, and we had all of the servers and bartenders enter their own information for us to collaborate and kind of share that information with the public. We had the city and some of the other movers and shakers in town share that. And the idea was that you could virtually tip your favorite bartenders directly to them. That list quickly grew to about 85 people. And so we're a college town, lots and lots of people needing help there. But one of our local pub owners actually saw on Facebook where we were doing the virtual tip jar. His name's Roy Wyndham with the Porter here in Hattiesburg. And he approached us and said, hey, back in the day, my parents were JCs. I've approached Jason with JMH Graphics, one of our local screen printers, and we've collaborated to come up with this t-shirt called Hattiesburg Strong. We're not really 100% sure what it's going to look like or what it's going to turn into, but now we have t-shirts, hats, and tank tops. And then today we have a local artist to join the cause. She's selling coloring book page downloads, and $3 from each of those downloads goes towards this fund. And Monday, we were actually able to issue our first round of grants. So the JCs here in Hattiesburg are running more of the grant program side of it. And we still have our virtual tip jar going as well. So I've been super, super fortunate as a chapter president. I kind of posted in our group me and said, hey, we have this possible project. And it took me like 10 minutes, and I had a project chair who has gone above and beyond. I think Whit has been to every news outlet and radio station in town. Our area development partnership has gotten on board and helping. And with the 3 different groups that are working together on it, we each have a little bit different contacts. So everybody's been willing to share contacts, and it has been just a tremendous outpouring of support from our community. We also, JMH is doing some yard signs, so those are on the website as well, but they're super soft. It's a really cool design. In the middle of it, so this is our t-shirt, but in the middle of it, it says "You Are" and then "Strong." So we thought that was kind of cool. And it's taken off. We live in a great community, and we've had a lot of community support. So really looking forward to being able to help some more people going forward. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's much more than we are doing. But it sounds like y'all are helping a lot more people, which is great. Absolutely.
Our first round of grants went to about 7 local servers, bartenders, and cooks. And I believe tomorrow I'm writing 7 more checks, so for different folks. It's
awesome.
Just been a tremendous outpouring of support from the community. So.
Awesome.
Didn't mean to come back on just yet. Sorry. Wrong button.
Hey, you're back. Hey.
Welcome back. I was trying to let y'all have the full screen. I didn't mean to press the button yet. But yeah, so that just goes to show how much right now is the perfect time for you to collaborate with neighboring chapters. And remember that we're all in here together. And I accidentally also hit Michael's comment where he put R&D, rip off, and duplicate. And yeah, but we're not, because we're all JCs and we're all in this together. So however it works out, whatever makes it easier for you in your chapter. And so is there anything else that y'all want to add on things? I mean, Bethany, do you have any best tips or practices that you've learned through this with social media?
So I've learned that I'm not very good at technology. Our first chapter Zoom meeting was supposed to be a video meeting, and I couldn't get anybody's videos to work, and anybody that called in, I couldn't unmute them. So I'm steadily learning how to work Zoom. The chapter is going to be so proud. And we've just tried to find ways to keep our members. We have a pretty good young core group that's just come on board. So we've been trying to find ways to keep everybody engaged and excited about JCs. We're taking some time to do trainings that you typically don't get to do unless you go to a national convention. And then it's always that training that's at 7 in the morning and you barely make it. So we're doing some things like that and just trying to make the best of it. We're having virtual happy hours and meetings and trying to keep our routine as normal as possible, even though we can't see each other in person. So I am not a social media guru, so I appreciate all the tips.
I'm not either. It's fake it till you make it when it comes to me. But it works. So
And I'm not either. I rely a whole lot on Lee and Mother PM Jesper, because making videos I cannot do. I'm gonna have to bring Jesper on, but I'm gonna have to figure out a time because unfortunately he's in California, so the time zone, he's still at work right now. So we'll have to figure out some way to get him to share best practices on making videos for our groups. But yeah, so how about Lee? I know that preaching has went to digital. What about when we're doing live videos and stuff? How about best practices? Any tips have you learned? Or I mean,
Yeah,
obviously,
a month ago,
optional.
I became a full-time YouTuber, even though I didn't want to. But yeah, so we're pre-recording. I will say this, just this again, my mind, I think in ministry, but as far as videos go, if here's our thinking on this. We're socially distancing and shutting down the world to try to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. If you can pre-record a video, if you're going to do a video with your chapter or something like that, or something special for your chapter, pre-record it and use Facebook premieres instead of a live stream. Now don't get rid of all live streams, but again, what I was talking about earlier, the live stream setup kind of freaked out there for a minute, and everybody was losing their videos and everything else. That's just because too many people were on there. So if it can, try to look for other options. So Facebook has an option to premiere, which is what we're doing for the church. So tomorrow I will record my sermon for Sunday to a completely empty auditorium, which is sad and strange at the same time. I told my wife she has to come sit up here at some point because I just need to preach to somebody. Um, but yeah, so we're doing that, and then of course, Zoom calls and things like that are great for keeping people at least connected to some, to some degree. I saw JCI USA was doing Uno on Zoom. I don't know how that worked, but it looked hilarious. But I have not had time to breathe over the last month, much less play Uno. So, but it looked hilarious and looked fun. So maybe figure out how to do that with your chapter and play Uno over Zoom.
Yeah, Uno worked actually really well. It was almost like it was a real life game. They keep saying I got super aggressive, but I started losing and I don't like to lose. So I feel like they're cheating. They're stacking their decks. Yeah, I feel like they're stacking their decks or something. They won't admit to it, but anyway, we all just draw from our own personal deck and we just keep going with it. And so let's see, we have some questions. For some reason, the questions are just now loading, I guess because it's overloaded, as you were saying. But Emily Knott just said, what is the best platform for a chapter that has no social media experience to get started with?
Instagram.
Instagram?
Next question. Yeah, that's where your people are. And it's really easy. I mean, it's not rocket science. You don't have as many tools and tricks and different things that you have Facebook wise. And so Instagram is really easy to use too.
Did that answer your question, Emily, or were you asking more for questions about the like schedulers and stuff?
I'm gonna pull it up on Facebook and see if it's
yeah, I'm having to go over here too because it's not working correctly on here. So Ross is saying that Uno is very awesome and fun. It's every Saturday at 8 p.m. on Zoom. Neil Fitzgerald, what YouTube videos would you recommend on Social Media 101 as there are so many?
Let me see if I can find her name. Okay, so there's this girl on YouTube called Katie Stickley. Last name is Stekly. She's got really good stuff. Now she's trying to be like an Instagram influencer, you know, like the people that, you know, they don't. I'm, anyways.
I think they get
But her tips.
Brand.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Anyways, next topic. So her tips are really good. And she does tons of videos on how to use TikTok and everything else. I don't really do a lot of work on TikTok. I have a TikTok and I laugh at everything I see on there, especially the JCI stuff that y'all started putting on TikTok. It's hilarious. But I don't. It's one of those. I'm the old guy on Facebook that just sees everybody's stuff and never actually comments or likes. That's me on TikTok. But yeah, Katie Stickley. That's who I'd go first. And then the good thing about YouTube is once you watch 3 or 4 of her videos, then your recommendeds are going to be full of her videos and people that are like her. And so it'll take you down a YouTube rabbit trail. And you'll know way more about social media than you ever wanted to. And then people will pay you to do it, which is not a bad thing.
I think I just got requested by Emily. Let me check this text message. But for some reason, she's saying I should show our TikTok attempt. But I'm not going to show our TikTok attempt. They can go and like and share my TikTok page is what they can do.
You should put it in the comments.
Is it your TikTok page? Like yours personally?
So I actually have not mastered the art of TikTok, and the video was too long for TikTok. I finally got the video perfect for TikTok, but then the song was too short for TikTok. Can't figure that out. So
yeah, there's another thing. That's why I don't understand TikTok, because as a graphic designer, my whole world revolves around don't break copyright. Right?
Yeah.
And then TikTok is a platform built on breaking copyrights for songs. I don't understand it. I don't know how they even exist. But oh well.
Did Amy? Is that our video? I think Amy may have just shared our video in the comments. Yeah. Thanks, Amy. So yeah, we'll see. It's actually great. We'll put it in the comments. I'm probably not supposed to broadcast it live on JCI USA page. So.
You didn't do anything. I don't know what you're talking about. You didn't put it in there.
Wasn't me. I mean, it was IPP Amy. So there you go. But it's out there now, so anybody's free to click it, and it's a lot of fun. But there was another collaboration project that we had. But yeah, so all right. Well, do y'all have anything else that y'all want to add?
No, I'm good. Thank you for having me on.
Wash your hands. Don't touch your face.
Wash your hands.
I've touched my face like 1,000 times in this video. Sorry. I hate it. What?
Amy was sharing Katie's stuff, not my thing. So woo, I'm on the clear, but Whit says TikTok's the only way to bring back Vine. I actually liked Vine too. But anyhow, we will let y'all go now. I have taken up enough of y'all's time. Wash your hands, say your prayers, because what is it? Germs and Jesus are everywhere. So.
It's true.
All right. Next week we have the leadership fellows. I think I have Jenna from Illinois and Samantha from Michigan that are joining us. So tune in to me next week and we'll be back. Thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, guys.
Bye.